We are back to analyzing the relationship between the Gorn and humans in Strange New Worlds Season 3, Episode 9. And this one also has a throwback to the original series. Although, to be honest with you, I'm not intimately with the, OG stuff, and I had to look this up because there was a point when I think it's the Metrons show up, and I was like, wait, didn't that I'm vague, and I had to go look it up online, and it was like, okay, yeah, that did tie back to that because I've seen Next Generation a couple times through, but it's been a while. Deep Space Nine a couple times through, it's been a while. It's been a lot longer since I've watched the original series. In any case, where we're at with the timeline that we're currently exploring with Strange New Worlds, it's very much still open war between the Gorn and humans. And this episode examines that relationship and we've seen this in a lot of different other shows and films when we take two soldiers from opposite sides uh, of a war and put them into a survival situation scenario where they have to rely upon each other to survive, and they end up forming a friendship. Um, that is the core of what this is all about. Ortega goes out to fly a shuttle mission, and when she does, she enters a wormhole and ends up stranded on this moon rock and can't get a message back. She releases a buoy. She has no idea if the Enterprise heard it or not. Meanwhile, the Enterprise thinks she's dead, eventually picks up that there is a um, beacon, and they spend their episode essentially trying to figure out how to get through the wormhole to rescue Ortega, while Ortega is on this rock trying to survive. And in the process of trying to survive, she ends up coming across another tent, another encampment, essentially. She's got her crash shuttle. She finds an encampment, and within that encampment, she finds an injured Gorn. And just through the act of survival, ends up forming this sort of rough alliance with the Gorn. Basically, the Gorn saves her, shares some food with her. She sees that it's very injured. She then helps it get these crystals that it needs to put on its leg. And then they sort of bond throughout the course of the episode, going throughout some trials and tribulations, while of course ultimately wanting to find a way to send things back home. And the funny thing is in the early parts of it, she's very distrustful of the Gorn, of course, and she ends up stealing its comm array because she's going to go back to her ship and figure out a way to get back to the to send a message back to the Enterprise. And when she goes back to her shuttle, there's a little earthquake and it falls underground, and she's stuck with the Gorn, and so she's forced to deal with this. Of course, by the end of the episode, we realize that she was actually, this scenario was organized by this race of beings who may or may not be shown at a later point in time. Um, in the timeline, we know they show up later, but they want to examine the relationship between the human and the Gorn and to determine if anything can ever become of that. Can they actually overcome their differences? And I think that was the core of what this was about, was analyzing two opposite sides of you know of I mean, ultimately all wars come down to a misunderstanding between two parties, right? And through the act of shared survival, they obviously form a bond and a friendship even. Ortega realizing this is a female Gorn, and being able to have a basic form of communication with a rigged transport. I'm blanking on the device now. Tricorder, sorry. Anyway, at the end of it, I think the saddest part was at the end when the Enterprise crew shows up and sees her emerging from this um, structure with the Gorn, and the Gorn reaches down to help like pick her up, and it puts a hand on her shoulder, goes to pick her up and sing, and everybody's just like, and they kill the Gorn, and you're just like, and Ortega, of course, is obviously just completely distraught. And this is when she's yelling at the sky, why? And she's been seeing these flashing lights the whole time she's been there. Like, I know you're out there watching me. Who are you? What do you want? And everything freezes. And that's when the figure in a weird robe shows up and tells her, oh, yes, we manipulated everything to see if you could overcome your differences, and we may revisit you again in the future to see whether or not you and the Gorn can come to an understanding. And then you will remember nothing of this. And then, sure enough, she's beamed up and she remembers nothing of that, but she does, have this experience that she shared with this Gorn. So, I mean, ultimately, I think it's an important step towards the journey of the Gorn not being the big bad guy that they are at the beginning of things. Um, and just another fun episode of Stranger Worlds. I am continuing to enjoy the journey. Can't wait for, I believe, one more episode to go. Is it one or two? I'm gonna go look this up really quick because I actually forgot if it's 10 or 12 episodes in this show. Because some things we watch have 10 episodes, some things we watch have 20. There's one more to go for this season to be wrapped up. Can't wait to see it. That'll be next week. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update, and I'll see everybody in that one. Don't forget, lots of shows, movies, games get reviewed here. We play games every day. Check them all out. We'll see everybody in the next one.